What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my Westworld theme park build in Open Rollercoaster Tycoon 2. This time I decided to this one I was trying to connect some pieces together. There's a lot of pieces that I've built that don't really connect to each other. I've been kind of just doing it piecemeal as I go. And this time I decided it's time to maybe kind of put the pieces together, connect some things in the park that aren't really that connected. And yeah, so this one, last time I built this Red Rock Canyon sort of area, and I wanted to kind of fix it up. It's more of a mountainous sort of thing, but I think it still looks pretty good. And the main thing was I just wanted to make sure that I built a mine coaster, which was kind of the plan all along. And I wanted to build, just kind of make it a little more ornate and fix it up a little bit. And that was sort of the idea of this episode. The one thing that I didn't realize last time when I was building this was that there's actually some flat pieces that you can use, and those are actually super helpful with making the terrain look a little bit more natural and more interesting. It just helps a lot. So I put in those flat terrain pieces, and the roller coaster itself is kind of lame. It's like maybe 3 excitement, but to tell you the truth, it's really aesthetic. It's going to be mainly for aesthetic purposes. I like it. It looks good, but it's just not super exciting, if I'm being totally honest. But it'll do. And the main portion here of this video is I'm just trying to fix up the desert area. I wanted to make sure that this was done and finished completely before I moved on to anything else. And really it is mostly done, other than just kind of filling in some empty spaces. Just I wanted to make sure that I had all the pieces together, had all of, like, I had to put in some stalls, some rides, some bathrooms, all that stuff before I moved on to the next area of the park. And if you look next to the other side of the path, there's that just big empty rectangle with nothing in it. And I was leaving that open to maybe have another, like, stall, another, you know, like more stalls, more shops and stalls, something. But I decided instead of doing that I would instead put some rides in there, squeeze some flat rides in, and that might make a little bit more interesting area than just another building. Because I have a lot of buildings, like I have the Main Street area right there, and there's really nothing else going on in the park other than I have one coaster, a couple of flat rides, and yeah, that's pretty much all that I have going on. So I wanted to make sure that there was other things, that I had more rides, because I'm lacking in rides right now. And so that was the kind of basis behind this episode, was just kind of flesh out what I have going right now before I move on to anything else. And I think I did a pretty good job of doing that. All I did was just I actually got there's one ride in here that's a custom ride that came with the scenery pack that I downloaded. It was a scenery workbench that I had, and these rides came with it, so I'm pretty happy about that. I got the Hopper, which is like a little kiddie ride, which I think I've seen that in real life at some point before at my home theme park. And this, I'll be honest, this did kind of, this was a little bit more difficult. So another part of it, of this scenery pack, was that it came with invisible shops and stalls, which I'm not used to having that either. And so when I have invisible shops and stalls, what it did was it sort of made it so where I could build a shop or stall that looked appropriate for it with scenery. So like I didn't have to make like the drinks stall that looks like a bunch of cans is just kind of, it just doesn't really fit into the theme of this theme park. So I wanted to make sure that I had something that fit in terms of scenery. So that was the idea behind using the invisible shops and stalls. I just wanted to make sure that it looked appropriate. And I did have some issues. I'm not gonna lie, I had some issues with guests entering the park at first. I had some issues with the guests spawning. It was just it was bizarre. But you know, I went ahead and I tried a lot of things here. There was the main thing that was that I expanded my railroad to go to the far corner. I realized that these stations are getting really close together, so I wanted to make sure that there's only gonna be 3 stations. I'm gonna make sure that this last one is as far away from the other 2 as possible, because they're pretty close together, and I should probably change that. But the last thing in this episode was I wanted to build a coaster that would be appropriate, a wooden coaster, the reverse roller coaster. And admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of this ride, just because it's sort of, I don't know, it doesn't have a lot of special interesting elements to it. It's just kind of like you really can just go up, down, left, right, and then the reverse pieces. But it is a wooden coaster type, and it has like the look that I'm going for, so I went ahead and built that just because it looked appropriate for what I'm doing. And the last part of this episode is just theming this ride and putting in another station platform building using scenery. And I've sort of honed in on another strategy for, like, I've actually found a design for station platforms that I'm pretty happy with. I use it not every time, but I use it a lot of the times if I have a roller coaster. I typically will do this design or something similar to it. And I might, in the next episode, I might do something, I might mess with it a little bit, but for now I think it looks pretty good. I just tried to match the station platform, the actual station with the scenery pieces, with the wooden theme that I have going on throughout the whole park. And yeah, and the last thing was just kind of making it look realistic by adding a fence. This is another custom piece that comes with the scenery pack that I bought, or I didn't buy it, I just downloaded it. The scenery pack that I have, it just comes with these custom fence pieces, and I think it looks pretty good. It's just makes it look a little bit more realistic. It makes it look accurate to what I feel like a coaster like this could potentially exist in real life, maybe. But that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe for more Roller Coaster Tycoon content. And otherwise, that's going to be it for me. Thanks, guys. Bye.